All right. Hi, I'm Nicholas.
And I'm Joshua Noonan.
And welcome to our first episode of our podcast.
The Party Boys and the Party Girls.
I'm pretty sure if we called her... Okay, first off, there's... Put the phone down because your arm's going to get tired.
Oh, okay.
Because that's not putting it down.
Oh, okay, all right. Okay,
All right,
yeah, sorry.
okay.
I'm a little bit loose, you know?
All right, well, yeah, just be... Well, you got to be...
Oh, yeah, like the wacky inflatable arm man.
No, if we call ourselves the Party Boys and Party Girls, there's no girls here. Although that does bring me to my first question.
Mm-hmm.
Who's the lucky lady?
Her name is Rio, and she dances on the sand, just like that river twisting through a dusty land. And when she shines, she really shows you all she can. Oh, Rio, Rio.
Stop looking at the phone. Look at me, man.
Oh, yeah, right, dude.
Right. Okay, not like that. You're staring into my soul.
So, you've come to me on the day of your daughter's wedding.
Stroking the cat. Yes, and I need someone killed.
Who? Heinz Doofenshmirtz? With his Killinator?
No. I need my self-doubt killed.
I don't know if that's even possible. Isn't that like only in the manga? I think this is the anime adaptation. I think they took that out because I think Koji Yamamoto did not like it. He did not like what they did with his story, so they added a little thing, and they're like, maybe we just can't have that detail.
So this is our podcast, our first episode. Please bear with us as we try to figure this whole thing out. There is a book called Everyone's Making Podcasts Except You by the McElroy brothers, who are my inspiration to do podcasts. I haven't listened to all their podcasts, but from what I'm told, their earlier podcasts, their earlier episodes of My Brother and Me were not that... did not have much of a format, and it's like a lot of people don't really re-listen to.
Yeah.
So there's no pressure, Josh. We can just figure this out, take it at our own pace.
Yeah, definitely. It's a nice day out. I mean, this weather.
It is good. I think this is so we are in a park in our town, and I think it's a good spot for us to really, just talk and whatnot.
Yeah, to delve into what is the meaning of life, what is the purpose, and what is...
That's not a goof, by the way. I was
goof?
serious. I was serious when I said that. I think our podcast should be called Seriously Silly because we improvise a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of it, which is brought forward by you and all the stuff that you.
Yeah.
Well, no, we're both fucking silly.
Yeah.
What am I saying? We're both silly, but we're also can switch on a dime.
Yeah, in different
serious
ways. We're kind of humorous in different ways. Whereas yours is more structured, mine is more spontaneous,
yours
improv,
is random, referential. Mine is more observational humor.
Yeah, and more like built up to, like a punchline kind of thing.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So basically, speaking of leading up to a punchline, when I die, I'm going to say something super funny as my last words.
Play this at my funeral? Like the playlist?
Oh, fuck. Well, now you rolled the punchline.
Sorry, I used my psychokinesis.
Alright.
It's no use. Take this. Yeah. I'm sorry, dude.
I would love to find a way to use that quote in, like, a fucking presidential speech.
Like, it's no use. I'd be like, oh, you think you're good? You're gonna stop me from winning this? It's no use.
And then,
take this, and then literally the guy throws a chair into the audience.
Okay, well,
and, becomes like a big event, but he didn't really do it really to hit anyone, but he did it as like a stunt.
Or maybe he's maybe the presidential candidate's like, it's no use, and then he whips out like a billboard with like facts and figures on it. Take this.
Yeah.
I do think it's so interesting to think how our humor, Gen Z / millennial humor is
very ironic, very very much kind of situational. There's a meme about what's happened in the world. There's a pandemic meme within hours after an announcement. There's World War III memes at the beginning of 2020. It's very situational and hey, I lived through this experience, or I kind of like that nostalgia culture that you see, but kind of evolved.
I think Gen Z humor is starting to get to a point where it's post-irony.
Yeah.
It's like, it's post-ironic, and it's like, there was a time and place where it was a very esoteric kind of humor, or not esoteric, like,
I mean, like the cynicism, where it's like very cynical, like how, you know, like you had like Malcolm in the Middle, which is a very funny show. I really love it, but it's just very, very cynical kind of depiction of the world. Like everybody's out to get you. You know, the family's kind of struggling to make ends meet, and that's where the humor comes in, is because of how crazy and like extreme it takes those scenarios in the show. Like it takes the idea of like, okay, well, you know, they'll start an episode, you know, Malcolm's being made fun of at school. Then by the end of the episode, there's this crazy big stunt or something happens, and it get, you know, and it, like that's always what I liked about that. Or
like how how like so many jokes just boil down to, ha ha,
life is unfair,
or yes, or ha ha, person mean, or ha ha, mother figure, which is usually before then depicted as nice and caring, is actually a jerk, or ha-ha,
or a very control freak,
or ha-ha, dad, which has since up to that point been shown as the head of the household and the
breadwinner, the breadwinner,
is actually stupid. And it's like
it was originally created to subvert, and then just over time, it just became so overused that subverting it now would be basically making the dad, like, you know, the voice of reason, and then this kind of, you know, kind of ditzy and kind of silly.
And like, I think that's like a pattern. I don't know if that's like a pattern of like, oh, we subvert it, and we subvert it so much it is now the norm in terms of media, in terms of like art, and in terms of, you know, the kind of stories we tell, and then we subvert it again, and then till that subversion becomes the norm in storytelling. Like, I wonder if that's a pattern that will ever really end.
Yeah, I personally don't think it will, because it seems like polarization is just a very key thing, especially nowadays, not just from like that comedy standpoint and, you know, sitcoms, but just in society, you know, like with political extremes. And it's very, very easier to kind of pull down a path, or like, you know, with like, or when a movie comes out and, you know, people are typing away right when it comes out, it's either like, it's always like, oh, this is one of the best, or this is one of the worst, even if, like, you know, there's a lot of middling kind of movies, but usually when people talk about it in a critique or something, they kind of use like hyperbole to be like, you know, this is the worst, this is the best, and it's like this back and forth, and there's usually a clash between like these two kind of cultures.
And I think in life, I think there is no use for that, but I think in storytelling, I think that's how storytelling kind of has to work, to kind of make things more relatable, so that it make things more relatable, like. And, like, you know, you exaggerate the emotions, you exaggerate the facial expressions and whatnot, especially in animation and whatnot. And so I think, I don't know, I have seen shows and whatnot that where it presents just nice, wholesome, and realistic struggles and realistic and good ways of acting at, you know, in its day-to-day in the show, and it feels, but most times it's in kid shows. It's in like Nick Jr., Disney Jr. kind of stuff, where it's like, as long as it's not the weird fucking kid shows that I absolutely despise, but like there's like Disney's kid show called Bluey, something about dogs or something.
Yeah.
And like, I'm liking that there are more kid shows that don't hyperbole, that don't exaggerate things, and it's just a kid going through a problem or going through life just like the kid that might be watching.
Yeah.
And I think that, and it's no complex themes. It's just like, hey kid, like
this happens in life. This is how people react.
This is how our main character's acting, and so this is how you should act. And then, oh, this is how the dad is acting. This is how you should expect your dad to act. This is how the mom's acting. This is how, like, they did something, like, they did a whole, like, segment about, like, affirming boundaries.
Yeah.
And it was, like, I was on Twitter, and it was like, that's a good thing you're teaching kids.
Yeah, I think there should be, like, more of a balance, because I feel like, you know, life is not completely negative, but it's not completely positive either. Like it's
Right.
like it's sort of like it comes in cycles. You don't really just go through one sort of height or one low. It's like it's sort of go up and down,
Ain't no
like a curve
mountain
almost.
high enough. Ain't no valley low enough. Ain't no river wide enough.
Because we got an audience.
We've got we've got 5 people. Josh.
That's an audience to me.
Those are our first listeners. Hey,
They're just illusion fighters
hey,
created by my arch nemesis.
call out to them. Tell them to listen to our podcast.
Everybody listen to our podcast.
Now that's louder. Everybody listen to our fucking podcast.
That cost me $45 to make. $45 for this phone. $45 for the equipment. That
There's
doesn't
no
even
way
exist.
this phone is $45 fucking dollars.
No, it's more like
Unless you stole it.
order 45,000. What? 45,000? There's no way that can be right. Urgh. Yeah, but that is very interesting because I think of a show that gives a good example of that. I can think of as the PBS Kids show Arthur is one that I think really it's very to the point and it talks about real things, you know.
Yeah.
And you know they had like one of the best examples I think was they did this episode called April 9th that was like about like when a fire incident happens at elementary school, but it's like an allegory for the people growing up in a post 9/11 world. But they did it this way, yeah. At least that's what it kind of is, like April 9th, September 11th. But like, and it was made after like I think a year after that, 2002. But the thing that's really brilliant about it is it doesn't really talk down. It's very much to the point that like it shows all the perspectives. You have Arthur whose dad almost gets killed in it, so he's going through the fear of like it's going to happen again. And then you even have a perspective you don't usually see, which is friend Buster misses the thing completely and he struggles to relate to everybody else.
Do they ever play I feel like they would play the Buster thing though for laughs.
I mean, they kind of did, but they kind of didn't. Like, it felt like it was genuine. Like, it was like kind of like lighter than like the other characters' arcs in the episode, And the reason I think it's brilliant though is it's like a timeless episode because they didn't just do it about 9/11. They didn't explicitly mention the towers or anything like that. They did it about you could apply it also to like maybe like a school shooting incident or something. Like it can be used for many things.
You stole the words out of my mouth.
Yeah.
Stop reading my mind, Josh, please.
You see, I have
I
have powers above your imagination, feeble human.
Look, a podcast is not going to work if you keep reading my mind, because then otherwise, like, it's going to be a one-sided conversation, and they can't read my mind.
But we can.
Okay,
I know what you're thinking about right now, viewers. You want a chicken dinner with ham sandwiches.
Stop with the ghosts. No ghosts. Stop referring to the we. I can see the ghost behind you right now.
Oh, yeah. That's right. Okay, so anyways, yeah, so what would you say about this Arthur thing? What do you think about was like a strength or weakness about its approach to, teaching basic life lessons? Like, is there something you think that it does wrong with it? Because I feel like we talked a lot about what it does well.
Well, side comment, I think it's animation. It's obvious its animation has, in the later years, has switched over to Flash animation.
Oh, yeah.
But that's just a side comment, all right? Because, comments about animation aside, I think in terms of how it teaches lessons to kids, I like it because there is like it is funny, and it has, and anytime there's exaggeration in it and it's storytelling, it's due to the kid's imagination.
Yeah, they have the dreams.
It is presented as kids' imagination.
Yeah, the main story is pretty down to earth. Like you could see, like it's interesting because they're furry characters. They're walking.
No. Do not call my childhood.
Well,
no, do not call my childhood furries. No.
Yeah. Well.
No, I do not want to see Arthur at a furry convention in the bathroom doing explicit deeds to another person in a fur costume.
Just read the thread about Sue Ellen, David Sue.
No, he's not a furry.
No, they live in the same the same universe as Sonic. Like that's the idea. Is basically.
Then that would mean every single bloody anamorphized animal story takes place in Sonic, which it does not.
No.
Does Zootopia take place in Sonic?
Well, they have Chaos Emeralds. They could just say it's another dimension. I mean, they already have other dimensions.
Okay, well then you can say any story is in another dimension of another story.
Yeah,
and then that's just the Omniverse.
I know. That's an interesting series. We could talk about how cow and chicken show up in that one. Omniverse.
Oh yeah, that's true. Oh,
Billy and Mandy, it's me, Billy. I'm looking for Grim.
You keep looking at the phone. It's like you're like, hey, look at what I'm doing.
Sorry, it's a habit.
Oh no. I'm not like
You're
trying
playing
to.
the game.
Not
You're
trying
playing
to
the
be
game.
like reprimand. You're like, no, Josh, this is how you do a podcast.
No,
this is
stop,
how you
cried
do
the
a
Archdeacon.
podcast.
No,
But like,
this.
no, I'm not trying to say that.
This is
making
podcast. Oh yeah, that's right. No one can
Hey,
physically see
this
those
is
moves.
now this is podcasting.
Master, I don't really understand what's going on here. I'm Anakin Skywalker.
Are you excited for the new Lego Star Wars Lego Star Wars video game?
I mean, it looks interesting. I mean, I heard it's going for a more open world thing where you kind of just travel the planets freely. I mean, I'm
it looks
glad,
like it's got like first person shooting too.
Yeah, that's cool. That could work really well. I just as someone who's played like the original ones, I'm really glad they didn't just because they already did like a re-release where they had the prequel ones, then they did the original trilogy ones, and then they did like a complete saga one. Like they didn't just rehash these levels again. What they did is like this time
they reinvented the mechanics.
Yeah, it's like it's a full blown like remake, and I think that to me was a really good choice because I was concerned going into it when it was announced. Like, are they just gonna give us the same levels with just like and they did like a Force Awakens one, so they just gonna give us like basically 2 movies of new levels and then nothing else. But no, they're like kind of reinventing it. But
well, what's really interesting to me is that like the Lego video games have really evolved over the years. So like at first they started with basically scene by scene recreation.
yeah,
Well, they would have certain cutscene recreations of parts of the movie, and in those cutscenes the characters wouldn't talk, and they would have 1 or 2 visual gags, and then you'd have like maybe like 30 to an hour of gameplay between cutscenes in which you're just traversing the area that wasn't explored in the movies, and then the gameplay would have its own visual gags and whatnot. And then with the combat, pretty straightforward. And then it evolved, and then the cutscenes became a bit more frequent. But what they would do would be just, really rely more on visual gags, but use voice lines from the original movies.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's evolved to the point where they're making the transition from cutscene to gameplay much more seamless, and a much more of a scene by scene recreation of the movies with the funny visual gags, with all the voices re-recorded either by the same actors or by different actors. And so it's very much like how Family Guy did the Star Wars episodes.
Yeah, it's like very satirical and because again
Except
the more
without any dick jokes.
yeah, muscly arms. Yeah, I remember everybody high school used to love that. I remember the thing, and then Red Leader standing by, Helen Reddy standing by, Simply Red standing by. And then the power station. Some like it hot, but the heat is on. Take out the power station. Yeah, that was pretty cool though. But yeah, I would say that's the thing. And I've even seen some videos on YouTube that were kind of against some of like the full voice acting thing, because part of the original Lego games, like charm at first, was like again that kind of that visual gag, kind of like, look, this is like a Lego thing. Like, see, this is why we told the story this way, because we can do it in this like kind of different approach. Whereas if you just want the dialogue, you could probably watch like the films or something like that. Like, so I can understand that. But I mean, the humor can be interesting. I've seen some of like the Lego shorts they've done.
Yeah.
But I just don't know if I want like the...
Well, the Lego humor is so filled with potential and has its own style that they've made their own Lego movies. They made the Lego movie, Lego Batman. They made Lego series like Lego Ninjago and some Battle Wolf thing I haven't watched yet, but apparently it's really good.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Lego Elmo and Grouchland was a masterpiece. Love
I'm sorry, what?
Lego Elmo and Grouchland, a classic 1999 kids film, but now like with Legos.
I'm pretty sure Lego movies and Lego shorts officially did not start until
Well, I mean, they
The
made it later. Yeah,
mid-2000s.
during the Platinum Edition
A
re-release,
lot of
2005.
a lot of the officially Lego made animations and shorts and movies were inspired by, people that just bought Legos and then made stop motion animations.
I know. I used to watch those on on-demand on Comcast.
Those came first.
I used to
stuff
watch
came
those.
after.
I used to love watching those. Like from time to time, I was like when I was younger, we had Comcast on demand, and I would just get bored and I'd browse like the kids section, and I would find these really like these little Lego shorts. Like one was soccer, there was one like football, and it was like I really liked those. I thought they were very charming in their own right.
I watched one where I remember watching one where it was like a dude. It was a Lego. It was like a really old one. It was like a Lego stop animation where the main character started to perceive the hands that were moving him.
Wow,
and then there was like, it became like a fucking thing about free will. It was very funny.
Wow, sounds like a really clever commentary. I'll have to check that out.
I honestly can't find it. I haven't found it.
Yeah,
I've been looking for it for years.
Well, you know what that means. Time to go to Lost Media Wiki.
Lost Media is like, it would still be notorious. This is like a video somewhere on YouTube.
Oh, well, I thought you made it sound like you've been looking for it, and it's almost like it doesn't exist now. Like, I thought that's what you meant.
No, it probably does exist. I just can't search it on YouTube with, like, I can't find the term for it.
I will say, honestly, I feel like the YouTube search engine has really kind of declined, at least for my, like, it seems more like in that monetizing thing, and, like, it's more of, like, the really bigger channels will come up and up, even if I'm, like, specific about a search, and, like, I've noticed that, like, compared to, like, when I would search for things before.
Well, the recommendations have unbelievably improved.
Yeah, I'm not talking about recommendations. I'm talking about the search.
I know. I agree. The search engine has declined a lot, but recommendations are a magical journey.
Yeah,
Like, it does not matter what you watch. Every once in a while, you will get recommended a 10-year-old.
I know.
Video
I love those. I know. And the comments are all about that.
Like, YouTube recommendations brought us together, brothers.
I know. I remember the one where
the cult is going strong. Like, what kind of blood rituals are we doing that we're all kind of Like, I'm pretty sure at one point there will be a recommendation. We all get recommended. Like, YouTube recommendations will recommend a lot of people, like, a weird 10-year-old video of, like, from a cult, and then boom, world domination.
Yeah, it's like that little stop motion short that used to always come up, and it was like a Mark Twain story or something. It was like this devil thing, and he has this thing where it's like his head is like, it's like a claymation thing. It's really creepy, and like it's a disturbing children's thing. And I remember it was just really, I didn't understand it, but like I don't know if you've seen it. Like he has like it's like his head is almost like one of those like theater masks where they have like the little stick and the little like face with the little crescent eyes, and like it's like he makes it out of his head. It was really weird. It used to come up, and I remember that used to always come up. You don't know what I'm talking about? Oh no, they know. Over and out. Let's get out of here.
Jones, look out! FBI! Get down!
You've got to understand, American. I'm not in the FBI. I'm from Russia. I'm for the KGB, comrade.
Dude, I've been waiting for this. Well, first you gotta give me the code.
Code word is revolution.
Okay, that's really fucking basic.
You're sorry.
No wonder we haven't been able to get this whole operation off the ground.
Well, you know what? Actually, I'm still a Kids Next Door operative. I always have been.
Josh, we had a good bit going there, and you were...
Sorry, I don't understand. What was that? Oh, that was nothing. That was my brother Jack.
You still got a bit of the mental brainwashing still in you when the Americans tried to do their propaganda into your brain of all their TV shows.
Yes,
that's why you still...
It's very much a blur to me. I really don't remember the first few years of my life.
That's because you were a baby, Josh. You can't remember the first few years of their life. No one does.
I am over 5,000 years old.
Okay, that's still the first few years of your life. You're still a baby.
Baby of mine, I'm a diamond.
Oh my gosh, the propaganda has gotten to you too much, brother.
It's, you see, it's when they brought the McDonald's in, my mind, it went from Big Mac to Big Mess. Thank you.
Oh, I'm so sorry, brother. The big mess. Oh, well, just like how the opposition office, the opposition leader, he can be a big mess in prison soon. Ha ha ha. Yes.
So make some money.
You know what I'm talking about? Putin put down opposition political leader.
Excuse me, who is this Putin you're talking about?
No, the KGB. But that's what we're talking about. I thought, or unless we.
No, I'm from the 1980s. I serve.
We were doing the Russian accent.
Yes,
You
I
can't
do.
just change.
No, Gorbachev, tear down this wall. You say?
Well, I'm pretty sure even back then, like, if you had in Russia's corruption has been around for a while.
I know.
If you had a political person that was opposing you, then you killed them.
I know. I was just
it's the same concept.
I know. I was just going to the joke is like that he's from the past.
Right, because the Red Scare and more spy stuff was definitely a lot more.
It's very interesting to me. I find that stuff kind of interesting personally.
So no matter what your thoughts are on quote-unquote cancel culture, whether or not it's a real thing, whether or not it has merit, whether or not it is a problem or not, whether or not it's a good thing, whether or not a bad thing, whether or not it's even an actual thing.
Yep.
Whatever people think cancel culture is, then what the fuck was the Red Scare? McCarthyism, where you would, if you didn't like someone, you'd call them a communist.
Yeah,
and
they
get them in court, and then they go in jail.
Blacklisted and arrested. Yeah.
Hundreds of actors were victim to McCarthyism.
Yeah, it's like very much a shift, because I just feel like that with a lot of the cancel culture stuff, it seems much more like it's very much it's the same kind of clash, but like now it's like, I could argue that the people saying that are actually the real people that are canceling, because then it's like, oh, this person, like let's say like, oh, that that Mr. Potato Head thing with the, oh no, it's gender neutral, let's boycott Potato Head. I'm like, isn't that kind of what you're saying cancel culture is? Like, you're kind of doing the same thing.
It's called having an unpopular opinion. Like,
well, there's that reactionaries.
It's reaction. Like, your free speech isn't being limited. Like, if say I said something really mean about your mother, would you want to be my friend?
I don't think so.
Right. So that's just consequences of what I say. That's now, you not want to be my friend, that's not an impediment on my rights of speech. That's just my consequences of me being a dick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like, it's like freedom of speech, but not freedom from, consequences. Yeah, that's like a concept.
It's not like you're getting fucking, prosecuted by the government or thrown on trial and stuff. It's literally like, hey, like, maybe you just don't have this job or something at worst. At worst, you don't have this job anymore. And the cases in which you actually where people actually lose their job over quote-unquote cancel culture, it's actually really small.
Yeah, an example I can think of is one of the earliest example, kind of the prototype to it, was on Twitter. That was that incident with that woman who made the tweet about the joke about going to Africa, and then she got fired. But I guess what I was reading somewhere was that I guess now she's working and she's like in a higher position or something in a company. So it's not like it really, like, it was like, she got fired for the time, but it's not like it was this permanent thing. It was just a really quick thing, which is kind of like our culture. It's a quick thing, is we kind of every few weeks or so in a news thing, we kind of flip through it. It's like we're really at a time.
Now I do agree though that I think if it's based around something someone did a long time ago, I think that is something that I will criticize about Twitter. The thing is, I've seen it a lot less. I do think a lot more now whenever someone is being presented and challenged on what they said and did.
Yeah.
A lot of the times now, it is about something that they are currently saying or doing.
Yeah, like that to me is like
when, but when this, but you know, a few years ago when it was a lot more about, oh, this person 10 years ago said this and did that. That is something that I disagree with, because I think everyone can change and people can be forgiven for what they say.
Yeah.
Especially if they say, hey, I don't agree with what I did back then, and I don't believe in that anymore.
Yeah. Personally, on that issue, I would say I do agree. If the only thing is if it's like relevant to what they're doing now,
right,
like if it's like, you know, somebody had a racist tweet, but then there's also in the present they still support some potentially, you know, racist groups, organizations, or like, you know, if it's like that, then no, they you know, I don't have an issue with them being quote unquote canceled. But like if it's like that, it really is just an out of context, you know, maybe it's just you know, it's just something that they said, and like their actions and their behavior now does not dictate that they have any sort of, you know, connection to that, then I say no, I wouldn't cancel them for that.
But the question is, like, what does it accomplish in the long run? Like, maybe this person doesn't have, like, say, because, like, we shame this person for having having a problematic viewpoint, maybe. Like, let's assume with absolutely impunity and certainty that this person is 100% in the wrong and whatnot, and which you can't fully actually reach that 100% certainty of. But let's say they are, and we're like, hey, why are you doing this right now? Don't do this. Hey, people, this person's doing this right now. And then everyone's like, hey, don't do this, don't say this because of blah, 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 blah. What does it change?
Well, I mean, it depends on, like, you know, what the person has done. Like, I mean, I think that what it does is overall as a culture thing, like when people may see us online, it may give people the idea that, like, you know, hey, it's not acceptable. It's not okay to be like this now. And maybe less people will make these mistakes in the future. And, you know, there's
even if that specific person does not change.
Oh, I mean, yeah, because there's still,
It's just
accountability.
It is accountability in the same. I think it's accountability in the same way. Well, not in the same way, in a very less extreme way, and different in a lot of ways, of prison. Whereas, like,
yeah, it's more about punishing than it is actually about rehabilitation.
Right.
Like, and when you cut people off from, you know, like, you're like, okay, well, now none of us want to associate with you. It kind of leads people back into those, you know, those habits of like, you know, now they're going to be around other people that may have been canceled and have those problematic views or ideas. And then it's like they associate, and then it just sort of, they just live in their own little bubble and they don't change.
Right. And the prison system in America does need, reform.
An overhaul.
But, like, the concept of, like, this is more of a, like, hey, we have this in place, and now people are much more careful about what they say. They're more thoughtful. And I think that is important, because if someone is, like, more thoughtful about what they say, I think, so if it's like, okay, this person is getting in trouble for saying something really racist, then that person who got in trouble for saying really racist, it's likely not gonna change what they believe, because they're too worried about having a fucking victim complex and I don't like that term. They're too worried about trying to make it seem like they're being prosecuted when they're the one who did something wrong. But other people who see it might now be a bit more thoughtful about what they say, and I think it gives other people an opportunity to confront maybe something that they believe or they say. I think people taking a few more seconds to think about what they say.
Yeah, it's more like a ripple effect, like a butterfly effect. Like, it seems like a small, okay, this tweet is something really bad, but the butterfly effect is like, it starts with that little thing, but then over time, that whole decision leads to a lot more. You know, people are now more aware. Other people, because again, with celebrities especially, people idealize them, people look up to them, people follow their tweets, and you know, when you have such a large audience, it's just multiplied the possibility that people reconsider their own thoughts and actions. You know, whether that is, I'm not going to support this artist as much, or if it's like just more of that personal,
Right.
wow, actually, this is one of those moments, usually a lot of people say celebrities are detached from us, but if we actually hold them like accountable, it's like us. Because I think on a smaller scale, if you went up to somebody, like you were saying, like you said something mean about my mom and I decided not to be your friend, that's like a very personal, real thing. And like having, people have to be like, hey, you shouldn't say this, maybe on a personal scale.
Right. So I think
And it brings them more down to earth. Like,
Right.
Hey, they are like us. They get in trouble for doing things too. They're not above the law just because of their fame. You have to, especially in that context.
So I think like if someone said like something racist and it got caught on video, and then a bunch of people on Twitter are like retweeting it, quoting it, saying like, what the fuck, don't do this, this is wrong, this is why it's wrong, like that person is gonna foolishly think they're being oppressed and whatnot when they're just having the consequences of their actions. But I think if someone in their life came up to them, someone like a close friend, and be like, hey dude, I just heard what you said, it's like, don't, like, blah 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 blah, and talk to them, that is gonna have, that one-on-one interaction is gonna have much more of an effect and much more chance of redemption than 100,000 people on Twitter dogpiling, dude.
Yeah, it definitely does. It's just it reaches out a lot of people, I was thinking. And just like, again, it's like, well, people idealize celebrities. It's like sometimes, I don't think that, dogpiling on people thing, like if it's just like one thing where it's like, somebody reports it and, Twitter takes it down or like marks it as like, this is something that shouldn't be said. People can understand, what they did is what they did, but it's not before they can send 100 different things to them. Like maybe it's like there's a sort of policy thing where it's like once someone reports or, does something like that, they take the thing down, they send a thing, there's like a brief period where the person cannot go on Twitter now. But like, and it's still people are but it's like less likely that a bunch of random strangers are going to reach out, but maybe like it just more.
I think at that point that would be kind of weird policy-wise for Twitter to do if it's like, okay, a bunch of people dogpiling on this person, because I do think in terms of it would depend on the severity of
that's what I mean. Like
if it's something like they're inciting fucking violence.
Yeah, or like they say, oh man, like they're specifically saying like something about, oh yeah, I support the Nazis or something, like, and it's like not like, it's not somebody that's doing, like, it's hard to tell, like, because there's a lot of, this is what happened. I don't know if you're familiar with the alt-right movement and like how they kind of coded a lot of their things and like, oh, it's just an edgy joke,
Yeah, like,
but really it was like they actually were being honest. That's what they were.
Like they were like,
it was
they say something fucking terrible and then they're like serious about it, and if other people like laugh at it, they're like, yeah, or if someone's like continues on the conversation, they're like, yeah, but the second someone's like, what the fuck, no, they're like, oh no, it's just a joke. Like, no, you're playing for whatever situation works out best for you in that scenario. It's like, no, man. Like,
yeah, I think it just depends on the thing.
And that's the thing for everyone, is that when you make a joke about something, about like, no, like when you make a joke or offhand comment on it, there are years and years of your life that builds up to whatever that is, that we are all conditioned to believe and do certain things, and we are all influenced by the things in our environments and whatnot. And so if you make an offhand comment, like, even if you're saying it as a joke, that doesn't mean there's not unintentional racism in it. And is it wrong that I address that and be like, hey, like, that's kind of like racist, man, like,
yeah, just
that's like it, because it comes from a perceived notion, even if you're not intending to be racist.
Yeah,
like,
maybe,
it's still like something like, it's a conditioned thing. Like, if you make a joke about like say like, you're like say like, you say like, oh yeah, my black friend said I could say the N-word. Like, okay, but so like, I'm not overreacting over the comment, but I am saying that comes from an unconscious thing where you think that one black person speaks for the entirety of the of the race.
Yeah.
And that's an entire...
Yeah. I think,
That's you othering an entire person or something like that.
I was just gonna say, I think maybe it's just the way Twitter's kind of made, kind of makes it a problem. It's more about this quick thing. People can just jump on, write what they think, don't actually like think about it. So maybe culturally, you know, maybe not even just the platform. Like, you know, maybe the platform could be more like, you know, maybe it's like you post a thing, but it's not entirely instantaneous. Like maybe it's like, you know, 10 minutes or something, and like you have a time limit of like the 10 minutes to decide. Wait a minute, maybe I don't want to post that, and then it'll send you an email thing if it says it posted, and you can still take them down.
I love that idea so much.
Yeah, and it would still keep the idea. It would still be a quick flowing thing, but it would just allow people, because I think culturally,
5 minutes. Let's say 5 minutes.
Yeah, we don't have to be too short. Yeah,
even just 2 minutes.
Sometimes it just takes 2 minutes, to like get the right idea in your mind. Like, okay, yeah, because that, you know, like, yeah, I don't think I'm gonna do that. And then, you know, just that kind of thing happens a lot. It's that slip of the moment thing. And there's still gonna be people who are gonna say bad things, and you know, they'll you know, deal with it. But that will help us weed out which ones are kind of like honest mistakes versus like you know, like people that are really trying to say bad things.
I think us all just being a bit more thoughtful about what we say.
Yeah. And
just realizing the power of our words. I think that would be good for everyone. And like, oh fuck, what was I gonna say?
Like culturally, like it's more like we want to shape our culture before we get to this point.
All of this is just a part of the long history of, hey, I have an unpopular opinion at the time, and I
want attention. I want a reaction.
Or like just like, hey, like I have an unpopular opinion at the time. And so if I want to make my unpopular opinion, in my attempts to make my unpopular opinion more popular, I face challenges. Whether or not your unpopular opinion is right or not, that's irrelevant to what I'm saying, because literally everyone in the world throughout history has had an unpopular opinion, has tried to make it more popular, try to spread it, and it faces challenges because of it. Like, now obviously I'm going to say like people who had unpopular opinions who we now know were right, such as people who were gay, who tried to be like, hey, being gay is okay.
Yeah, it's a natural thing. Yeah, and then
or like people with AIDS talking about AIDS and whatnot. They face challenges about spreading that opinion.
Yeah, or maybe like about like the thing with like basic science with like, you know, originally a lot of people, you know, the Earth being flat, but it's actually round, or like, you know, like the sun being revolving around, you know, the planets revolving around the sun, versus, you know, some people used to think that like it was like the Earth, you know, the solar system, you know, revolved around that and that kind of thing.
And now here's some examples of people who we now know are wrong, who had unpopular opinions, who tried to make them popular and faced challenges just because they had unpopular opinions.
Yeah.
Which, that's what it means to have an unpopular opinion. Such as like the fucking loyalists to the king during the American Revolution and whatnot.
My boy.
They got kicked out of the colonies.
Yeah.
And they all had to go to Georgia. Like, okay. Like, you're not being prosecuted, dude. It's just a part of life. You have an unpopular opinion, and if you want to make it a popular opinion, guess what? It's an uphill battle.
Yeah, it's like you have to prove your case. You know, you have to make an argument. If you're just saying some just to state it,
the burden of proof is on you.
Yeah, that's like the, you know,
you're not getting canceled.
Religion versus science debates that you see, where it's like, you know, they're like, oh, how do you have to prove to me that there isn't a God? It's like, well, you need to prove that, you know, that there is, you know, in that way. But nothing against, like, if it's on a more personal scale. But when people try to make an absolute claim, you know what I mean? Like, I know you're probably more religious than I am, but like I'm saying, like, if somebody is going to go out of their way to try to like make it as an absolute, everyone on the earth needs to follow this religion.
Right, no.
Like, if it's a more personal thing, there's not really anything wrong. You don't have to prove anything. But if you're trying to fight against the science committee, I feel like that's a different
case.
Philosophy
or any opinion that comes to the assumption that this will only work if everyone agrees, or if everyone believes in this, is a garbage philosophy. Philosophies and opinions need to come to the understanding that if you want your philosophy or your opinion to be a widespread one or popular one, built within that philosophy or opinion, has to have the idea of there's no way this is going to be agreed by with everyone, and we can coexist with that.
Yeah, definitely. It's very, so that's the thing about philosophy. It's really just a process. It's not something that just, it's not something that you just have an answer at. It's more about questions and arriving at the truth.
Are we still recording?
Yeah, we're at 45 minutes. Do you think we're good for now, or do you want to go for an hour?
Let's...
Because the bugs are out, and it looks like they want me. No!
I was making sure we were still recording, but like, yeah, if the bugs are getting you, then let's have like a one-liner joke to end it off in, and then we can stop.
Okay.
So.
Well, I mean, they're not getting me too much, but I mean, if you want to go for the hour, we can.
Okay. Well, what do you want to do?
I don't know. What do you want to do today?
I don't know. What do you want to do?
I want to rule the world with an iron fist.
I don't know why. Ow! Why do you hit me? Don't hit me with that iron fist. It hurts.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just got this thing polished. Just want to flex my muscles.
Well, guess what? I have a golden fist. Ugh. Oh my gosh, my hand is crumbled. I forgot that gold is malleable.
That's right. Or I use my super anime shonen technique. We only reveal them in the middle of the fight. We don't actually build up to it. Now all of a sudden, the battle changes. But wait, there's more. That thing cancels out your thing. Oh no. 10 episodes later. Oh, how did I lose that again?
And then they never use the concept again.
Yep.
They never use the concept again.
Yep, except the finale.
No, not even the fucking finale. True. Most of the time they don't.
I know. It's just such a I don't know. There's something charming though about like the shonen structure. I mean, like I know it's really cliche.
All comes out of nowhere.
Well, so not to the extent. Like I mean, in smaller bursts. Like I like the way it's like like if it's built up to like it's like previously established moves and it's calling back to that. But it's like the characters are like, hey, I got this thing, and sometimes it's kind of cool because it's kind of like it's like them saying, hey, I know myself. I know my own limits. I know my abilities, and it's like kind of telling us that they themselves are well versed in what their skills are, but like I know what you mean, like when it's something like that where it's kind of just they show up in like the battle, but like I mean like if it's something where it's like a move we've seen them use throughout earlier in the series, and maybe something about like their personality, and then it's not as much of a surprise because like, hey, that's like maybe somebody has like a shield power and there's somebody that keeps people out, and their arc is that they try to be more and that instead of it being that they protect themselves, they learn to connect and then protect others with that kind of shield, and that's what I mean. So like if it's done in a context, it's kind of charming. It's just when you take it out of context and it's like that kind of Deus Ex Machina kind of crap, then yeah, it can be really honest, it's more fun to parody.
Yeah, and that's why I like Dragon Ball Z Abridged.
Yeah, and like and then Sword Art Online Abridged, right? Isn't that like the better
Sword
than
Art Online Abridged is so fucking good. But I'm gonna be honest, the actual Dragon Ball series, I really do not like.
Well, that's fine. I respect that because even though I like it, I understand that, and I definitely don't like it as much as like I to the level I used to. Well, because I realize it's just the thing with it. It's you got to understand like what type of thing it really is. Like the way like the creator Akira Toriyama wrote it, it was just sort of like he just kind of kept writing as he went along. He didn't have a plan. It was like really his editor would kind of come in and tell him this. So many points where he thought he was going to end it, and then people wanted more. So, and I think it works better as like if you don't, yeah, like you said, if you don't take it as like seriously. Or like, even with like the recent series of Dragon Ball Super, it seems a lot more like humorous and self-aware, but it still does give into a lot of those tropes. But I respect that. I understand that. I definitely don't think it's like one of the greatest anime ever. I think in terms of story, it's definitely a mixed bag. But like in terms of spectacle, it can be really cool. Definitely. So like, yeah, it works better as a smaller
So like
thing.
Do you think it works better binge watching it or as like weekly releases? Like,
well,
do you like obviously like you probably only binge watch it because like.
Well, I mean, I know. I've seen some. I've watched it weekly a little bit when I first got into it.
So which do you think is like a better way in terms of that big spectacle? What is the better way to consume it?
It really depends on which series we're talking about because, like, with like the original Dragon Ball Z, I would say honestly has very horrible pacing because it's just it has some good fillers. I'm not gonna just throw every filler. Sometimes they can be fun ways to add more to the characters and give them like free time. We get to know them more, but like it's just very drawn out. So I would say with that one, it really, it's not something that's I don't know. I think it works better in like the I mean, even though it's really drawn out, like I feel like it's much easier to kind of, yeah, it's like to watch it all at once, like in that way. But like with like, you know, like if we're talking like the manga or like, you know, the cut down version Dragon Ball Z Kai.
I think any manga, no matter what, is something that I think
is like superior to the anime form. And like, cause
well, most times yes. But I'm saying in terms of manga, I think in terms of how you consume the manga, I think any manga is not at a negative if it's being binged. I mean, I will say that there are mangas that, you know, it's just as good if you do it weekly, but I don't think there's any negatives if you binge it. But with anime and with TV shows and stuff, I think there's
different types of shows. It depends on the show. Like I feel like it
depends on how it's like it is designed, especially in nowadays where there are shows that are released all at once that are expected to be binged, and so they're
crafted that way. Yeah, that's the thing. It's all about planning, and that's the thing I was saying about Dragon Ball. There really isn't like a plan with it, and I think it's more of like, it's just really like fun in a way. And like I think when you cut out a lot of like the really drawn out things, it can be very like if you just kind of take it as like what, you know, it is. It's just a simple kind of action thing. You know, some villains show up, they beat them up. You know, like in that way, it can be very fun. And as I was saying, like some of the shorter, more abridged versions, no pun intended there, like can be much more like, you know, I think that would be better for like the weekly viewing thing because it like more is packed in each one. So you know, but like with the main series, I find it amazing that it became as big as it did. You know, in that form, because I've watched that and I've never had to watch like the original Z series, you know, week by week. I've watched that in like, you know, DVD set or streaming or like, but just like with Dragon Ball Z Kai, which was actually my first introduction to it, I did watch that weekly on Nicktoons, and it was like that was how I got into it, and because it was because of the fact that they sped up the pacing so much. I think that's maybe a generational thing too. Like our generation is much more like, again, like I'm saying with Twitter and everything, we quickly jump on and we react to things. Not a bad thing. I'm not trying to be a boomer. I'm just saying it's just a thing we do. It doesn't mean that we don't care. It just means that our tastes are different. You know,
I think that's partially more of us paradoxically realizing like
life is limited, everything goes by in a flash.
Like life is limited. Live in the moment, and also just like there is a lot of things we can do, so let's try to fit them all in. So these things need to be quick, and I think a lot more people now are realizing the tail end of that realization, which is that there's a lot of shit, so I don't really need to be knowledgeable about all this shit.
There's more like a casual culture, casual.
More casual, where it's like, okay, like everyone's recommending this, I bet it's great, but I don't have the time to invest in the shit.
No disrespect to people who like it.
A lot more people are adopting that, where it's like, hey, a lot of people are enjoying this, that's great, but like my life's limited. I can't get invested in the show. What the fuck? Why are there... I mean, I know why we're here, but why is that car here and why is that car here?
Because it might be the guy who owns it, because I know there's this guy... There's one time I came here late with some people, and like the guy comes out and he told us we had to leave.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that might be Professor X.
Well, if he was going to tell us to leave, yeah, he'd probably park right here and then...
Wait a minute. I think oh no, I know who this is.
Who is it?
It's Onsarat. You know, everyone's attendant. Remember I told you that before. This is the manga version, right? We're within the manga, right?
I'm scared. Josh, hold my hand.
I wanna hold your hand.
He's walking away. Brought his kid with him. That's weird.
No,
God, we're gonna watch the news tomorrow and it's gonna say kid kidnapped. Look out for this car.
Don't say it too loud.
And then it's just like, oh my gosh. No way.
I just love how like we're just like talking here and like there was people just walking by and like I just wonder like imagine what they were thinking.
A bit more busier day, like a school day. Holy shit.
That'd be a good social experiment. Imagine someone just tries to join us and like.
Well, there is a podcast that I really
like. They don't know we're recording. They think that we're just kind of talking.
Oh my gosh, that'd be amazing. But there is a podcast called Podcast Outside where it's literally that.
Yeah.
So it's like, I would love to do that, but that concept's got to take it. But we can still do it.
Maybe we could do
just not make it the focus.
Maybe we could do a different location every week, and like we don't really.
They do that too.
Oh man,
but we can still do it. Yeah. We can still do it.
All we gotta do.
It's just we just gotta be like. We just gotta pay them like $5 every week when we do it. Just be like, hey guys, we're kind of stealing your idea, but we love it so much and it's such a great idea.
I'll have to call.
Honestly, and not to mention, just not even like podcast wise and idea wise in terms of like trying to make our podcast unique. I love talking to strangers.
It's a really nice thing to do because it's like you learn a lot about, more than you maybe would from reading something. Like hearing people's experiences can be a lot. And my thing is like I have a social anxiety to it, but like when I get past that barrier, like it has to, when I can break it sometimes. And when I break the barrier, it's really nice. Like I've had a couple things where I've taken a lot of, Lyft rides before, someone that doesn't have the license at the moment. And like there was one guy that was like telling me he likes to converse with, his drivers and everything. We had like a good conversation about life and stuff. And it's pretty good.
So, okay, so I have an idea, like, not that I'd love to keep talking about that. Like, this is not me ignoring what you're saying. It's just more like, that's just a great So when I transition to a different topic, or I bounce off something you said, it's not me, like, not acknowledging what you're saying. It's just like, wow, that's just a great comment to summarize what we just talked about. You get what I was saying?
Yeah.
So that was like a great way of summarizing and that topic. Like I can't bounce off of that because it's just a great thing.
Yeah.
Like honestly, it's awesome that you're making strides in your anxiety over that.
Yeah. And that's definitely from I just feel like right now that's been like my goal, and it's really like I feel like it's like again what I was saying earlier about that butterfly effect thing, with the cancel culture thing. Like it's like it really is like it starts at like a small decision and it ripples into a thing. Like one of my things is I had a friend from college and I really didn't talk to them a lot, and then it was just one day I watched this movie and I thought that it was a genre that interested them as well.
Perfect.
And then I I thought I'm gonna initiate a conversation about this. I think we could have a discussion, and then all from that, and now I'm like really good friends with them and I talk with them all the time. And
that's awesome, man.
It all started with me pushing into that, and that's it just feels that way. And you start with a smaller thing, and it's a bigger thing will result if you just it's a habit. This is some of my different philosophy. Like a habit, you get in the habit of doing the good thing or something. Like okay, I'm gonna try to talk to people more. I'm going to they call me, I'm gonna answer and talk to them, and each step, and then eventually you become more open, and it really can make a lot of bigger changes.
So now that now that you've graduated college, congratulations, everyone. Josh has just graduated college. Yay,
that's
everyone.
Right.
Everyone, clap your hands.
Please give me some money. I need to pay out my debt. Thank you.
Yay, Josh.
Where's my money? Where's my money? Where's my money? Where's my money?
Ah, fuck. Yay!
Congratulations! The video with the anime thing, I remember that.
So now that you graduated college, and with, socialization, normal socialization seems to be within reach.
Mm-hmm.
Do you plan on hanging out in person with any of these people from college?
Yes, actually. I plan to actually see some people actually in a couple weeks, probably.
Yeah. All right.
That's right. Enter the fray. And I'm just getting better at I really like, and I think it even starts with how we've been hanging out and becoming closer. It starts at just even friends from Salem. How I used to be in high school. We got along, but I was not very open about, I want to hang out or do something.
It was more like we hanged out at school.
Yeah. And then over time it was I just started to get better and better, and just would, just people, it starts in Salem and then it ripples into, okay, now I'm in college, I can do this here. And and it's really a great process, and I just want to say I really appreciate you've been a very good friend, and
thanks,
I'm really having you're welcome.
A good friend too,
I know,
man.
and I really liking this podcast is awesome, and it's really cool just to get to know people and really know them as more than just what you may see of them at school or something. That's kind of the first step into their world, and you have to open, and it's like that, and it's just been a really great process for me trying to be more social, because that's always something I struggled with.
So that's definitely a big goal of your future right now is like that socialization. And
Yeah,
that's great.
yeah. It's just something I really focus my life on. It's just there's just something I really like about connecting with other people and helping them and
Maybe
just being part of things. Yeah.
You could always combine that with your
Be
your
like a tutor.
futuring writing.
Yeah, like a tutor. I've been thinking about that, and even
I'll become a teacher.
Yeah. What if I went, because one of my professors was saying they would help me go if I want to go for my MA.
What's an MA?
I think it's like a master associate or something. I'm not 100% sure.
I mean, I think nowadays you do need a master's to become a teacher.
Yeah, I could do that too. I mean, I could. I'm not sure about it right now because of financial and whatnot. But I really, because I've had, like, people have told me, like, I was actually, one of my dad's friends was over the house, and, like, there was this whole thing where I was telling them about, like, my writing stuff, and I was explaining a concept to them from, like, the writing. Forget if it was, I think it was explained like a Deus Machina, when something comes in, and, like, they were saying, the way you're doing it, the way I was moving my arms, the manner, the way I explained it, it was like I was a professor.
That's awesome.
Like, I know.
Yeah.
I've been really thinking about
it.
I've
been on the tail end of that. Yeah. You've hit me in the head multiple times when you do that, and I love it.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, it is.
But
I'm in the town and I'm moving my arms.
No, it's me.
I hate the people around me. Yeah.
Wow, AJ.
Oh my gosh, that Wario skit on SNL sucked.
There was a Wario skit on SNL?
Yes, don't watch it.
Is that the Elon Musk episode?
Yes. Anyway, I don't want to talk about it because it sucked. But, yes, that is good. Good shit, man. I'm so excited for your future.
Well, thank you.
The future is, it's going to have challenges, obviously. Yeah. Everyone does. But it's going to be so awesome, and I'm so excited for you, man.
Thank you. I think this is going to be a very great experience. Is there anything that you've been thinking?
Why do you have sunglasses on?
Because the future's so bright, I gotta wear shades.
Okay, listeners.
No, I don't have them on. I don't have them on. They're on my head. I'm not wearing them. Well, no, I had them earlier because I feel like when I wear them, I feel more confident too. Like when I look, I'm not kidding. Like I look at my face and I have the sunglasses on. I really like. It's like not. I don't know. I feel more confident.
Yeah, and then you got a whole new style now, man.
Yeah, that's what I'm going for. I changed my profile picture on Facebook. I'm just trying to be like. I like how I kind of put my hair out a bit. I'm Josh from the future. I'm the post-pandemic Josh I'm gonna be.
Yeah, post-pandemic people. I am so excited for all that shit. Yeah. Even though it looks like I still have caution about it because there's still people who aren't getting vaccinated. Yeah. And there's COVID variants.
Yeah, of course.
But at the same time, it does look like it's gonna be good enough, at least that by fall in-person classes are going to be a norm and I can go back to class.
And you should, so the future, because I think you seem like somebody really, likes to reach out and help others, and I just wonder, is it like you thinking of doing something, like I could see you doing some type of help or aid with I
am, if not more determined to become a therapist.
I could see it. Like, you definitely, like a guidance counselor or like a therapist. Like I'm being honest. I just feel like that'd be perfect for you.
I appreciate. Thank you. I never really, cause so I started going to therapy around say 10th grade, right? And. Mm-hmm. I met Gavin, my therapist, and he's amazing. Mm-hmm. And the work we did was just so good. I kind of started critiquing the guidance counselors at school, and I was like, damn. A lot of the conversations I had with them would ultimately go back to trying to get my grades up, which wasn't really the way they should have been.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. It's like nothing against the people that do that, but they're in that
and I'm
specific
not saying
context.
All guidance counselors are that. I was just saying the ones that I interacted with.
The ones I did, there was one I had in elementary school, and his thing is, he meant well, but he was so overbearing. If I drew a picture or something that seemed like it was oh, Josh drew this thing, I think he's gonna do this or that, because when I got angry, I would draw some things that somewhat negative about the school. Nothing too crazy, but that was just a thing that would happen. It was my way of outbursting because I draw stuff. And even he would show it at the meetings, and then even other teachers and parents, everybody they'd be really, no, I don't think he's he seemed very but I understood he meant well, but he was just very he's a nice person, but he was very overbearing, and it was this whole thing one time where like, so one time, okay, I know, I'm sorry, I just had this funny little story.
No, go ahead.
Well, one time, my dad, so, things that have happened in my life, one time he saw my father at like the Rockingham Mall Plaza in Salem in like the parking lot, and then like he almost tried to chase my dad down to like talk to him. Yeah, my dad was telling me, like he pulled in and then he's like, hey, what is up to you or something, and like I want to talk about your kid. Let's talk about the comfort zones.
Let's talk about you and me and what your son is doing. Uncomfortable. And your dad's like, I'm here to go to Victoria's Secret.
My dad going to Victoria's Secret?
Yeah, I'm here to see the clerk. She's a real hottie, so.
Yeah.
I mean, you can join me if you want. You can be my wingman, but like, we are not talking about what you think is going on with Josh, because I can tell you right now, you are wrong.
He was wrongfully wrong.
Wrongfully wrong. Rightfully right, rightfully wrong, wrongfully right, right, wrong, Ron. Okay.
See, the time is
Do you
1:05.
Right, so one thing I want to figure out before we end it is two things. One, I think we should have a uniform time in which we usually end.
Yeah, I was thinking like an hour.
An hour, so that's good. All right, so
it's a little bit over. We can cut some of it out.
Well, no, it doesn't have to be strictly an hour, but what time we shoot for, or, kind of be fair to us.
Do you want me to stop it now?
No, because I want to figure out one more thing before we close.
Mm-hmm.
What is we need a name for our podcast.
I call you comically inept, and it's like the joke is like it sounds kind of like that cynicism we're talking about with like, oh, these guys don't know how to do comedy, but it's more like saying that like, they're kind of comedy, but they're kind of not. It's like a back and positive and negative clash.
I think that's false advertising because
that's how you get ahead in this country.
We're not cynic, and we want to.
That's cynicism.
We want to appear whole. We are wholesome, and I want to appear wholesome and positive.
Yeah, I think the Seriously Silly is actually a good title. I like that.
So when we were talking, I think up another name, which is Whiplash, because we will transition from one topic to the. So like when I listen to other podcasts, usually there's like
sections.
There's sections. Like
I know I've listened to some
even
too.
if they're not like, okay, now we're going to talk about this. Or
it's like it transitions between it, like it leads into it, and ours is kind of more spontaneous.
Right, or like there's just like, okay, they stop talking about this, and then there's a few seconds of quiet, and then they start talking about something else. And with us, like, our transitions are like whiplash from one through another. We're talking about cancel culture, and then we're talking about Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
And just a lot of which is thanks to you, my man. Like, you do a great job of like just transitioning like one topic leading to another, and it's like you're really great at that.
I think you're really good at kind of reeling my thing in when like
good.
Like making sure it doesn't turn into just my random humor. Like you have a context to yours as well as just kind of keeping it from.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah.
Yeah. Whew. All right, so my two suggestions are Seriously Silly and Whiplash. You give me two suggestions.
Okay, I gotta.
Unless you want to count Comically Inept.
I mean, I can count that as one. Let me think of another one, though. Maybe it could be J and N's double stuff.
J and N's double stuff like Oreo?
Yeah, like it's like that. Yeah, but like, you know what I mean? Because it's like Josh and Nick, and it's double, because it's like we have like it's like we don't know what the stuff is, because it's like some of it is your humor, my humor, some of my serious, you're serious. I don't know. I know. I could take that the wrong way, but
because it's actually really funny. Like funny in a good way. Like not like, oh, this is ridiculous, but like double stuffed. I think that could work.
Mm-hmm.
Double stuff. Like we're gonna double stuff you with like thrusting
mushrooms, garlic.
We're double stuffing you
with garlic, mushroom,
content.
pepper nut.
We're we're like Oreos. We're stuffing you with that white cream.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I sound like our mutual friend. I'm not gonna name him.
Oh yeah, he shall not be named.
Well, not like
That'll be
that,
right.
but
No,
just
no, you're
because
right.
we don't want to like make anyone who might listen to this who might know us feel bad.
Yeah, but there's 20 different people. That's one of the most common names in the world.
Okay, yes, but if they knew who we are,
Yeah, well, they do.
know which person we're talking about.
I know everybody's listening to this. I just want to say, everybody, thank you for tuning in.
Yeah, thank you for. We forgot to do the sponsors.
Oh yeah,
This episode is brought to you by
Omega Mart. We have no idea what's in store for you.
It is also brought to you by this bench that we are sitting on.
Wow.
It supports our butts. Thank you for supporting us.
I'm Joshua Newton, and I approve this message.
We'll let you know what the name of you'll know what the name of the podcast is, because we'll probably ask our friends and family of the 4 names what they like, and then we'll label the name, and then we'll put it out. So thank you so much for listening. Me and Josh are going to go inside the car and stop getting bitten by bugs. Have a good night.
Yep. Good night, everybody.